Are the words about a pandemic at this point?
No, we're not at all, and we have it totally under control.
We think we have it very well under control. We pretty much shut it down. It's going to disappear. One day, it's like a miracle. It will disappear. We can hold that down. As we're saying to 100,000, it's a horrible number. We all together have done a very good job.
As the nation surpassed 4 million COVID cases and over 145,000 deaths this week.
It's something that we have tremendous control of, and I think we're going to win faster than people think, I hope. You're going to lose a number of people to the flu, but you're going to lose more people by putting a country into a massive recession or depression. The virus is going to disappear. I feel about vaccines like I feel about tests. This is going to go away without a vaccine.
The coronavirus itself, SARS-CoV-2, is here to stay.
As the U.S. surpasses a staggering 400,000 deaths, the incoming CDC director says another 100,000 could die in the next month.
It is what it is. It's going to fade away. We're in very good shape.
And on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your response to this crisis?
I'd rate it a 10. I think we've done a great job.
Now witness the firepower of this fully armed and operational battle station.
Stop with the questions! Celebrate!
Mike Pence.
We'll do it live! Around the nation, Waldorf Nation, everybody, welcome to the show. You know what time it is? It's time for stories. It's time for the news. Now, we actually have a couple of interesting, good stories, including the Officer Potter verdict that's coming on later in the show. But, you know, we also have Donald Trump being pro-vaccine. That's very interesting. We have QAnon followers giving each other COVID and saying that it's anthrax. That's a fun story. I enjoy this. Now, we also have, remember Giuliani's star witness? She goes completely mask off. You're not going to be surprised, but nonetheless, I'm going to tell you what she said. And then, is it sexist to only want men to fix your car? Interesting. That's an interesting question. I'm going to talk about that because apparently that might have happened. And so we're going to do that. We're going to talk about all that stuff. So very, very interesting show today. Please like and share the stream. This is the Christmas Eve stream. Not the Christmas Adam stream, but it's the Christmas Eve stream. By the way, MRAs flipping their shit. Oh, why isn't there a Christmas Adam? I'm so mad. I'm so mad. Continue to stay mad, please. Die mad about it. All right. Anyway, there was something else that I was going to talk about, but you know what? I kind of forgot. So, oh yeah, that's right. Men pour chocolate milk into your head gasket. Yeah. You know what? Everybody liked that, terrible comparison, terrible analogy that I made. But I'm glad you enjoyed the chocolate milk in the head gasket. And that's fun times. Oh yeah, by the way, I was a couple of minutes late because I was frantically trying to eat something before the show because I pretty much hadn't eaten all day, and so I'm like, and this is, by the way, this is my addition to the C word discourse. I had crackers and cheese. Oh no, I'm in trouble. Oh no, I'm gonna be kicked off of YouTube for saying that word.
I'm in trouble.
Yep, yeah, that's what I was saying. Cracker discourse. Suspended. You have been kicked off Twitch. I must roast the VOD. What ridiculousness is this? All right, so anyway, let's do it. Let's get into the stories. Let's have some fun. Former President Donald Trump continues to tout the vaccine, despite being booed by some of his MAGA adherents. I know that he was very, very upset when he had called Bill O'Reilly. The edge of tears. I can't believe that. I can't believe they were there to boo me. They were there to see me. And all I did was just say, that I got the booster to the vaccine. Undeterred, however, Trump then went on Candace Owens' show, which, by the way, Candace Owens, interestingly enough, got a massive donation from Donald Trump. Or was that the other way around? Not entirely sure. Nonetheless, there was money that changed hands. But nonetheless, he went on Candace Owens, who is a notorious anti-vax grifter, who is likely very much vaccinated. But he's going to say this. Take a look.
Where do you stand on these vaccine mandates? And obviously, I know that you are pro-vaccine. Obviously, you did everything you could to get this vaccine out. I know where you stand on the vaccine.
It was one of the greatest achievements. We did it in less than 9 months.
To be able to do that.
Yeah,
but now it's taken a twist, right? It's gotten, now we went from this is a good thing and people should have this option to military men, you're going to have to resign because you're not getting this vaccine. Where do you stand on that?
Well, I stand on, forget about the mandates, that people have to have their freedom, but at the same time, the vaccine is one of the greatest achievements of mankind. We would have had in 1917, remember the Spanish flu, killed perhaps 100 million people. Actually, it ended the First World War because the soldiers a lot of people don't know that. The soldiers got so sick. It was a terrible thing. There were no vaccines. There was no anything. I came up with a vaccine, with 3 vaccines. All are very, very good. Came up with 3 of them in less than 9 months. It was supposed to take 5 to 12 years.
And yet more people have died under COVID this year, by the way, under Joe Biden, than under you. And more people took the vaccine this year. So people are questioning how...
Well, no, the vaccine worked, but some people aren't taking it. The ones that get very sick and go to the hospital are the ones that don't take the vaccine. But it's still their choice. And if you take the vaccine, you're protected. Look, the results of the vaccine are very good. And if you do get it, it's a very minor form. People aren't dying when they take the vaccine.
What about the masking of children?
The immediate turnaround. Oh no. He's not going with my anti-vax talking points. What about the masking of children? How horrible is that? How terrible to put a mask on a child. I'm sure you're now against Halloween. I don't know if you know this, but Halloween we put masks on children. I know. Okay. Right. Okay. Fun times. All right, so first off, let me just do something nearly unprecedented and give Donald Trump a tiny bit of credit. I want to see more of this. I think this is good. That's really it. That said, I will now take said credit away. So you had it for just a second. For just a second. Oh, there it goes. Oh, I'm going to take it away. And here's why. All right. Donald Trump did not come up with a vaccine. He didn't come up with a vaccine, not to mention 3 vaccines. No, that's absurd. Government-funded scientists came up with it. And not all in the United States, by the way. The Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine actually was developed in Germany by German scientists. But yes, now that said, did his administration push government resources towards the development of these vaccines to make sure that, again, Operation Warp Speed, right, that happened under his administration. And yes, the administration does get credit for that. A little bit, at least. I mean, honestly, we shouldn't even give him credit for that. Why is that? Because that's honestly what the role of government should be. That's what government's supposed to do. That's what governments all over the world did without question. because that's what you're supposed to do. That's the role, that's the job of the government. And so, no, you know what? No credit for that. No credit for funding the development of the vaccine, because that's literally your freaking job. Low bar, people. You know what? Even I have been, you know, my expectations of government in America are so fucking low. They're to the floor, everybody. They're to the floor. Where now, I'm out here, you know, and so many people along with me are thinking about giving credit to somebody for doing the very basic function of government and actually being like, oh, wow, he actually did his job. He kind of did something a little bit. Bravo, bravo. And again, I don't care who's president. That's a very basic function of government that you are supposed to do. Wow, you did it. Congratulations. Maybe you should have done it a little bit earlier. I mean, and by the way, the other ridiculous thing about this, all right, is that the idea of Donald Trump sitting in a lab, little lab coat and tiny little gloves for his tiny little hands, holding a little beaker, because it can't be a full-size beaker, it's got to be a little mini beaker. That entire picture is comedy gold. Yeah, he's out there, I developed the vaccine. No, you get no credit for doing the minimum. None at all. None at all. And again, we don't, and here's the thing, our expectations are so low, we expect Donald Trump, I mean, even though it's Donald Trump, we look at him and it's like, oh, he's going to absolutely fail. Absolutely fail at everything. Oh my God, he actually did something that was somewhat good. Now, but anyway, now what's interesting here, the best part, is that it's an interesting change in messaging from the former president. As The Intercept noted, the former president had actually declined in the past in order to, you know, he declined doing anything to try to save the lives of his fans and followers, as well as people in the United States, by declining to have himself photographed getting a shot or filmed getting a vaccine. No, all the other presidents had done this, living presidents, political figures. They're like, yeah, here's what we're going to do. We're going to film ourselves or photograph ourselves getting the COVID-19 vaccine to try to encourage people to get the COVID-19 vaccine. Great. Now, in fact, they write, having spent the final months of his presidency downplaying the risk posed by the coronavirus pandemic, even discouraging his supporters from wearing masks at the PAC campaign rallies he addressed, Trump revealed in March that he had secretly received the first of 2 doses of the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine before leaving office in January. Later acknowledged he got the second shot as well. And so, again, the result, I mean, the reason that he had gotten these vaccines is COVID scared the shit out of him. I mean, it's true. Like, the guy could not breathe. He was very close to death. Too close for his comfort, at least. And so he's like, oh my God, this is serious. Give me the vaccine. Just give it to me. Inject it into my veins. Literally. Just put it in there. Put it in there. I want the vaccine. I want the vaccine. But again, the subterfuge is because he didn't want his followers to know. And it's because the anti-vax crowd would despise him for it. And that's what they are doing now. He didn't want to risk his re-election chances by being open about taking the vaccine. Now, he misjudged this massively politically, right? Because it was a political response. And he didn't realize that his response to COVID was the very thing that had sunk his campaign. I think Donald Trump knows it wasn't voter fraud. No. And so he doesn't believe in voter fraud. He knows that it didn't, that's not what happened. Now he's going to spread that conspiracy theory. And really, he's just doing that in order to protect his ego. Because, oh, Donald Trump, I'm a winner. I'm no loser. No. If I lose, it's because the game was rigged in the first place. It was rigged in the first place. But now he's out there because he's made this little calculation in his head. They're like, oh, turns out if I want voters in 2024, because I'm running for president again, it might not be a good idea to murder them, to have them killed. Murder's the wrong word right there. But, you know, maybe I should encourage him not to die from COVID-19 anymore. You know, because it didn't work out too well, because I ended up losing to Joe Biden. And so now I'm going to go and I'm going to pretend to be pro-vaccine, because actually I actually don't think that that's pretend either, because he is pro-vaccine. He's pro himself taking the vaccine. And now that it helps him, his chances politically, or he believes that it will help his chances politically, he's like, yeah, pro-vaccine, take the vaccine, take the vaccine. I encourage you to take the vaccine. But of course he's like, oh, but I don't believe in the mandates, blah, blah, blah. You know, that normal caveat. And then, you know, again, he's out there saying and touting and taking credit for the vaccine. Oh, it's wonderful. We did the vaccine. You should take it. People are, the people that are dying, you know, that it's because there's a small fringe minority of people. Okay, but the thing is that they're not actually a minority. There are millions of people, of Americans, who refuse to vaccinate because that's part of their it's part of their political identity not to do that. Online conspiracy theories, Fox News. In fact, as of September 13th, 2021, about 52.8% of people in counties, that voted for Joe Biden were fully vaccinated, compared to only about 39.9% of Trump counties. A 12.9 percentage point difference. And I've got some charts that I want to show you on that. And so if you just take a look at that. So there's vaccination rates in counties that voted for Biden versus ones that voted for Trump. Trump supporters, obviously, much lower level of vaccination. They're the ones that are filling up the hospitals because they refuse to get vaccinated. So now I've got another image here. Take a look at that. So that's the gap in vaccination rates. Back in April, very, very small. By May, huge. July, much, much bigger. And September, actually a little bit of an increase. So would you look at that? Fascinating. But, you know, there's more data. A November Kaiser Family Foundation analysis found that a total of 60% of unvaccinated people identify as Republican or Republican-leaning, despite making about 41% of the adult population. So, according to the data, a Republican is 26% more likely than a Democrat to have not received a COVID-19 shot. So, again, taking all that, what does that all mean? Why the heel turn? As I mentioned before, COVID's killing his potential voters. He's running for president, and now he's like trying to desperately get people who are going to vote for him to not kill themselves, because he knows how much of a disaster COVID-19 is. Now, again, at the same time, he's saying the right thing, but he's saying it too late. And he's only saying it as an effort to help himself personally. And all those strings together pretty much shows that it's the most Donald Trump thing that he has ever done. Anybody thinking that he's actually ever really believed the anti-vax stuff, knowing that, you know, he got vaxxed after COVID, after it scared the living shit out of him, essentially, and then thinking that, oh no, Donald Trump is now being brave and embracing the truth and acting to save lives. Well, if you're saying that, you don't know Trump. He rode the anti-vax wave because it was popular. And we see that not just, among Republicans, we also see that in social media. And let's be honest, reactionary anti-vax content online is very, very popular. So if you're just to watch online trends, which I do think Donald Trump pays attention to, if you're to watch online trends, video views, etc., again, it's all about the television, right? Or the amount of views. Well, and again, if you watch people like Joe Rogan, for example, you'd think that oh, being anti-vax, incredibly popular. But it's only popular with a very insular community of very right-wing people, which is not the majority of the country. So now he's trying to do the other side, to be the pro-vax side. Now, that said, at the end of all of this, if it does help convince some of his supporters to get vaccinated, I'm not going to argue with the result. Sure, and I hope it happens. And if this does that, but also, I don't know, destroys his ability to get enough people to vote for him in 2024, his election chances, such the better. Just know the reality. All right. Another COVID story. A bunch of QAnon supporters and conspiracy theorists are now complaining about getting sick following a maskless conspiracy theory conference in Dallas, Texas. Gee, I wonder what happened. So now the people who are there are complaining of symptoms like coughing and shortness of breath and fever, which sounds a lot like, COVID, the thing that's going around right now, and that has been going around for like the past 2 years. The whole global pandemic thing. Yeah. Now, nonetheless, it being a conspiracy theory conference, who do you think they're going to blame? What do you think they're going to blame? Obviously, anything but COVID. In fact, they're actually pointing at biological terrorism. From who? I don't know. They. Who's they? I don't know. They. They attacked the conference with anthrax. Yes, that's right. Now, that claim began after dozens of unvaccinated and unmasked people spent time together in a very confined space at the Reawaken America Tour event in Dallas over the weekend of December 10th. Now, the anthrax claim was made by Joel Altman on his Conservative Daily podcast earlier this week. In a video recording of the podcast, Altman can be seen coughing and sneezing on camera, which obviously, if you have anthrax, you're going to be doing your podcast. Because, that's what people do. Yeah, of course. Now, Altman claims that he and his fellow conspiracy theorists were attacked. Quote, "There's a 99.9% chance it's anthrax." Do you have any evidence? Did anybody test positive for anthrax? No, nobody did. In fact, none of the other 3,500 attendees have reported suffering the effects of anthrax. So, no evidence. But he's 99.9% sure. Hey, it must be anthrax. It must be anthrax. I mean, what else could it be? What else could it be? Could be COVID. Oh, no, that thing? Fake. Fake news doesn't exist. 5G, anthrax. What do you expect from a conspiracy theory conference? Honestly. Now, Altman claims that he and up to a dozen other people who were in the green room had fell ill over the following days. When Altman said he was sick and claimed that his symptoms were tempered because he was already taking an earlier antibiotic as a result of impaling himself on an arrow. What? That is never a dull moment with that guy. I tell you what, you are never bored if you are around right-wingers. They're getting anthrax and then they're stabbing themselves with like arrows and stuff. How do you impale yourself with an arrow? I have questions, important questions here that need to be answered. But somehow that's the least of his worries because, you know, frickin' anthrax. Holy crap. All right. So now another person got sick. This is Jovan Pulitzer, an election conspiracy theorist, pushed a big lie, who was also at the conference. He apparently was dealing with more severe symptoms. According to Altman, Pulitzer had not been heard from in several days. But then, even though he hadn't been heard from in several days, somehow reported that he had complications including body lesions and weeping skin. Let me just guess, I'm pretty sure he probably made that up. I'm just going to hazard a guess on that. Because again, there's no evidence there to back that up. And it seems very, very convenient. But again, doesn't matter. Now that conspiracy theory, the anthrax, was soon boosted by other conspiracy theorists like former New Mexico State University professor David Clements and Overstock.com founder Patrick Byrne. Another person who was spreading this conspiracy is QAnon influencer turned congressional candidate Ron Watkins, who also might have been Q, or at least a lot of people thought that he might have been Q. And so there's that. Now, look, say it was poison. Say it was anthrax. Well, they had to have had a delivery system, right? Well, these people at this conference are thinking, we know what it was, and we know who did it. First, it was the fog machine. It was the fog machine. Oh, really? Now, Altman, after he made his initial claim, other conspiracy-minded folk highlighted a video from the event that showed a fog machine operating during the conference, suggesting that this is how the anthrax was spread. Again, no evidence of any anthrax, no reports to the CDC or any other federal agency which would have actually investigated this. But sure, fog machine. Now, Clay Clark, Reawaken America Tour's lead organizer, had dismissed these claims. He told the far-right online talk show host Stu Peters that, look, I don't know, it wasn't a fog machine. Nothing happened. I don't know what it was, but it wasn't anthrax. Interestingly enough, people are now pointing the finger at Clay Clark and saying, not only was it the fog machine, but you did it. You were the one who poisoned the people at your own event because you're the Illuminati. To which he responded to, hey, look, if you go to an NBA game or an NFL game, there's going to be fog. People are calling me every day saying, are you part of the Illuminati? And I go, what? Indeed. Indeed. Clark also talked to the Daily Beast on Wednesday afternoon, saying this, no, there was not anthrax through the fog machines. He noted that if there was anthrax, one, I think we would have all been dead. And then, before noting that the church that hosted the event uses fog for a lot of special effects, which Clark has no control over. Oh, so there's your out. Yeah, I mean, look, I didn't think there was any, I didn't put any anthrax in the fog machine, but I also don't have control over the fog machine, so I don't know what happened. But it wasn't me. I'm not Illuminati. I'm not Illuminati. Well, you know what? That is exactly something a person who is a member of the Illuminati would say. They would say that I am not the Illuminati, and I did not poison you with the fog machine. So what do we? So do we really even know? Do we even know? Look, I can't think of anything more mentally frustrating and annoying than to be a conspiracy theorist caught up in their own conspiracy, you know, being accused of being part of another conspiracy, trying to disprove said conspiracy, but to have to do it to other conspiracy theorists. I mean, it just goes round and round and round. They're going to Spider-Man meme each other. He said this about that. All I know is that we have done 7 events of these so far, and at each event, people have claimed that they've been attacked by a bioweapon. This is actually normal for me. Well, I'm glad to see that you're used to it. Or, you know, maybe it could be the fact that you keep throwing these super spreader events filled with people who don't wear masks and don't use, and don't get vaccinated, and you're surprised somehow that people keep getting sick. Weird. Now, he further suggested that he would ban people like Clements. Now, Clements is the one that came up with the anthrax claim and said this: as a general rule, if anyone claims you're Illuminati, I don't know if you invite him back as a speaker, right? Oh, you're starting to get it. Yeah, I think you're starting to get it now. But just a little bit. Now, Clements responded to this by basically, again, you guessed it, calling him a pedo. Because of course he did. They can't help themselves. It's so sad and predictable. Exactly what they do. They can't help it. They can't. Conspiracy. Everything's a conspiracy. You're a conspiracy. I'm not a conspiracy though, but you're a conspiracy. And if you're not a conspiracy, you're part of a conspiracy by being a child trafficker. You can't win. You can't win. Again, the simplest explanation here usually happens to be the truth. Y'all got COVID. You idiots got together and gave each other COVID. There it is. Conspiracy debunked. Okay. People, these people, I can't with them. I can't. Okay. Let's go to Giuliani's star witness here. So good. Oh, wrong button. There is insanity.
There's insanity in the control room.
Okay, here we go. We got it now. You may remember Melissa Carone. She is most famously known as Rudy Giuliani's star witness during his failed voter fraud lawsuit. So now this is one of the witnesses he used in his hearings in Michigan to try to overturn the election. And now Carone is running for political office in Michigan. So now to give you, get a little bit of a refresher of how insane this person is, here's a video from that hearing.
How many registered voters are on there? Do you even know the answer to that?
No, I guess I'm trying to get to the bottom of this here.
Zero. There's zero. But what about the turnout rate? 120%?
Let's let Representative Johnson ask his question.
So why we're not seeing the poll book off by 30,000 votes? That's not the case.
What did you guys do? Take it and do something crazy to it?
I'm just saying the numbers are not off by 30,000 votes. So
I know what I
saying
saw.
That they're filling in?
I know what I saw, and I signed something saying that if I'm wrong, I can go to prison. Okay. Did you?
Oh, did you? Did you do that? Hey, I guess it wouldn't be the first time if she ended up going to jail, being there. But okay, anyway. So now she's known for that. And now she's running for office, and she is leaning hard into the racist vote. Big surprise. In fact, Michigan Advance reported that Carone recently used white supremacist talking points to her supporters on social media. Ah, yes. So now there was a Facebook Live video. I'm not going to show that because I really don't want to subject you to that. But here's a couple of choice quotes. So Carone is quoted saying that people in that public schools and the government are trying to eliminate white people in America. They're trying to eliminate the white people in America, particularly the white male in America, Carone said, after criticizing public schools for asking students for their pronouns and calling transgender rights government control. Ah, yes, the famous government control method of asking people to use their proper pronouns. These people have a very strange idea of oppression. I mean, I'm guessing to them, it means anything that either makes them uncomfortable or inconveniences them in very slight ways. It is almost snowflake, really. And look, you know, as a straight white male myself, who apparently is being destroyed or into oblivion or something by the wokeness. Look, I enjoy being a white male, a straight white male. That's who I am. Now, again, the existence of transgender people and pronouns does not impact my life in a negative way whatsoever. I'm just saying. In fact, I have transgender people in my life. Great friends, family members, good people. Knowing them enhances my life. It makes me more aware of new perspectives and getting to know just great people. Now, that makes me wonder, what kind of guy should she know? And if the men that she knows are so fragile that they need to be protected from the existence of transgender people and pronouns. I mean, again, we're talking about some real white male fragility going on here. And so, again, if trans people simply existing is enough to undo straight white men, I mean, then I guess straight white men don't deserve to exist if they're that weak and fragile. I'm just saying, like, and let me tell you, again, at least from my personal experience, and I think the personal experience of most straight white men, we don't care. We don't care. Those who are insecure about themselves are the ones that constantly think about, oh no, trans people, they exist. Oh no, gay people, they exist. What if they think that I'm gay? What if I'm attracted to a trans person? Oh my God. Yeah, nobody cares, dude. Nobody cares. Relax. It's going to be okay. You're going to be fine. Shh. It's okay, little baby. You'll be all right. Mommy can protect you. But that's what she's saying, because she wants to be mommy. It's so weird. But look, men who are secure in their identity and gender expression, as I am, we are not threatened by any of this. There's nothing to be threatened about. And so either this woman knows some very weak-ass men, or maybe she's just afraid of some of the competition from trans women. You ever thought about that one? Oh no, competition. Either way, this woman is pretty damn triggered by all of this stuff. Now, the report continues. In the nearly 90-minute video, oh, could you imagine watching this psycho for 90 minutes, an hour and a half? Dear God. Carone also criticized the vaccines because, of course, statewide shutdowns during the pandemic, of course, and defended insurrectionists who stormed the Capitol, and also claimed that the COVID vaccines, once again, are a sign of the apocalypse. Because, of course. Pure, unadulterated crazy pants. This woman is a clear lunatic. Just a lunatic. And by the way, again, I mentioned the record, right? Until recently, Carone had been on probation for a computer crime. Now, what was that? Apparently, she allegedly harassed her fiance's ex-wife using sexually explicit videos. Weird. So weird. Such a just lunatic. Michigan voters, my fellow Michiganders, for God's sakes, you can do better than electing her. Do not give this crazy woman power. Who knows what she's going to do with it? Yikes. All right. Now, I wish I had the video that went along with this, but unfortunately, I'm not able to get it. But we'll do what we can. A customer at a car dealership refused to have her car serviced by a woman. Now, there was a video that was posted to TikTok. It got about 1.5 million views. It's now no longer available, but it was posted by a service advisor at a car dealership named Rachel. Now, in it, this service advisor was fielding a call from a customer called Autumn. So now this customer had called in, basically asking for service on her car, but demanded that no woman touch her car, but just, hey, I need a man to fix my car. And I'm not going to do anything unless it's a man. I'd like to talk to a man. She said, my opinion is females don't belong in a service department. They belong behind the scenes doing the paperwork. To which she responded, oh, look, there's no males in our service department. I'm sorry. Let's see. According to the text overlaid by the poster, the service writers, who are all the liaison between the car dealership and the customers, are all women, while all the technicians are men. The woman asked to be transferred to a male worker, which then the only male worker was somebody in sales. So they transfer her over. She gets nowhere because he's in sales and he can't actually help her with any of that. And so now they get back on the phone with these women here in the service department. The woman then requested an appointment for Saturday to have her oil change, adding that, I just hope there are no females on the desk when I get there. There will be a woman, most likely another service writer, could be heard in the background. Autumn then reiterated to the woman that there are no male workers in the service department and offered to transfer the woman to the sales manager once again. As long as there is a male in the shop to change my oil, that would be fine, the woman said. I do not want a female working on my car. She then explained her reasoning, saying the last time she had something done in her car, it was supposed to be a 5-minute job. Well, how do you know? Well, how do you know? Since you're a lowly woman and don't know anything about cars, how did you know it was only a 5-minute job? You don't know. You don't know. Your own reasoning, kind of faulty. But then said, I ended up sitting there for a freaking hour and I had to go track down a male to get my car because the females were incompetent of paging me. According to the text, the event Karen brought up is when she refused to reschedule due to the shop getting hit with COVID and being down 4 different technicians. So the shop was behind and she was told at the extended wait time. Apparently it didn't matter. She didn't listen to any of that. In one ear, out the other. It was supposed to be a 5-minute job. Yeah, when somebody actually works on it. But if you are down 4 different technicians, you only have 1 left. What are you going to do? What are you supposed to do? Just the ridiculousness. I mean, it just, the Karen levels are off the scale. Now, the owner of this had seen the video and was shocked and outraged over this, saying, quote, "Females in our dealership are treated with equal opportunities. Our service director fired her as a customer. Bye-bye, Karen." So now what's interesting here is, to me, this is how internalized sexism works. This woman just had no idea. She could not believe that a woman could ever work on her car. Oh my God, have you ever heard such a thing? A woman working on a car? Oh, yeah, actually I have. I know a lot of women that work on their own cars. One of my good friends from high school, actually, her and her husband, they love cars. They work on them together. They race them at the local track. It's kind of awesome. But, you know, look, I know generally working on cars is something that is not considered traditionally feminine. Well, for one, I don't care. I don't see what the big deal is. If you want to work on your car, if you like cars, work on your car. If you don't like working on your car, then don't work on your car. Again, it all depends on who you are. It depends on what you like and how comfortable you are with mechanical stuff. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be a big surprise for me to tell you that I do not do well with mechanical stuff. I'm not very good with my hands, at least when it comes to, you know, doing work on cars and other things. I still do those things. I still do, you know, what I can. And of course, YouTube tutorials are fantastic for that, showing me how to do those things that, you know, I'm not good at and whatever. I didn't grow up working on cars. I didn't grow up really working on anything. And so, you know, a lot of what I do is I just do it because I have to. I don't like to do it. I'd rather take it into the shop. But there are people that don't have that option. There are people that don't have money. I mean, think of the single mother, right? Single mother doesn't really have the money to take things into a shop. Doesn't really have a man around or anybody to help them. But you think they're going to sit there and wait for a man to come save them and change their oil? No, they're going to change their own goddamn oil. They're going to change their own tires. Totally fine. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, think of all that they have to do. So the whole thing about women, shouldn't be working on cars or shouldn't be doing any of that, it's just ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. But again, where the sexism comes into play, it's not just towards women, by the way. It was also towards the men. Again, she's like, I have to speak to a male. The only guy was in sales, and he's like, that's not my job. That's not my job. I'll tell you something. That's my job. But like, no, just because I'm a dude does not mean I'm going to go and change your oil. That's a ridiculous assumption. Not all guys know how to change oil. Not every guy wants to be able to do that. Now, I think that, of course, again, if you want to work on cars or you know, if you want to learn some of the basics, for example, I think it's fundamentally, important for you to know how to change a tire. I think that's really important. You get stuck, middle of nowhere with a flat tire. Yeah, go, look, you should know how to be able to, put your donut on or your spare tire or whatever. That's just smart. And I encourage everybody to be able to do that and to learn that. And that's easy stuff. And also, it's useful if you either can't afford a tow truck or you don't want to wait for a tow truck. And that's it. But again, this doesn't have to do, these are basic skills that don't have anything to do with gender. It just doesn't. It doesn't matter what you have between your legs. If you want to work on a car, you can work on a car. And the only thing there is you just have to educate yourself on what you're doing. And that's it. And everybody is capable of understanding and doing that. These traditional gender roles are kind of stupid when you think about it. And again, and the reason that I hate them is because they pigeonhole people. Everybody's different. Everybody's different. And if I've learned anything in my entire life, it's that you try to pigeonhole people, you try to stereotype people. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work. So now there's a couple of comments here from some of the users. One of them says, as a female mechanic, I am livid. And again, there are female mechanics. There's nothing wrong with that. I think that's great. Another person says, I would have said, I completely understand, ma'am. Can I speak to the man of the house to confirm that what you're saying is correct? Oh, that's a good one. Oh, that's a good one. Another shared how they, of course, faced sexism for being women in an auto shop or service department, saying, I work in a body shop. We experience the same thing. And then another one points out a low-key dig that women tend to get when they work in that industry. Quote, I want to talk to someone who knows about cars. Well, again, why can't a woman know about cars? Again, if you're into it, you're into it. If you're not into it, you're not into it. Totally fine. I think everybody should have the option and the ability to learn whatever the hell they want without any sort of judgment. So, I mean, that's what I feel about this. Obviously, not everybody's going to agree. I'm pretty sure I'm just going to get some hateful comments from right-wingers and probably even some, some ladies that are like, no, our job is in the kitchen. Hey, look, if that's what you want to do, if you're, traditional, call yourself a traditional female, that's fine. You can do whatever you want. Just don't trash on other people for doing what they want. Don't be like this Karen and just completely disregard someone that can actually fix your car. Lots of people do this with gaming too. Oh yeah, I'm so familiar with the online trope. There are no girls online. Girls don't play video games. It really a girl just means guy in real life. Yes, that's it. No, I've met and know plenty of women who do gaming and are pretty goddamn good at it. So, Dango Bango says she went ahead, already advocates for women in the kitchen. Hey, if she wants to do that, that's up to her. Like, just don't tell everybody else to do it. I'm for freedom. You want to do that? That's totally fine. But, if you don't want to do that, that should also be fine. Women belong in the kitchen, yet probably more male cooking shows than female. How does any of that make sense? Good point. Good point. Okay. Half the gamer population is female, which would match half the population of the Earth. Kind of makes sense. Kind of makes sense. All right. A last story here. Dave Ranger points out something that I have definitely seen before. Saying from the 1990s, the internet where men are men, women are men, and little girls are FBI agents. I have heard that plenty of times. Remember, I survived Baron's chat. Everybody. Like, World of Warcraft Baron's chat. You can't get worse than that. Well, you can, but that's still pretty bad. That's still real bad. All right. Last story of the day. Former police officer Kim Potter has been found guilty for fatally shooting Dante Wright. In fact, I want to give you the video here of the judge handing down that verdict. Take a look.
In the matter of State of Minnesota versus Kimberly Potter, court file number 27 CR 217490, we, the jury, on the charge of manslaughter in the first degree while committing a misdemeanor on or about April 11, 2021, in Hennepin County, State of Minnesota, find the defendant guilty. and the verdict was agreed to at the hour of 11:40 a.m. and signed by the jury person on 12/23/21. The verdict on count 2 is we, the jury, on the charge of manslaughter in the second degree, culpable negligence on or about April 11, 2021, in Hennepin County, state of Minnesota, find the defendant guilty. And that verdict was agreed to at 10:30 a.m. on 12/21/21. Members of the jury, is this your true and correct verdict? So say you one, and so say you all.
Yes. All right, so obviously guilty to both charges. She will then move forward towards sentencing. So now the maximum penalty for first-degree manslaughter predicated on reckless use and handling of a firearm is about 15 years in prison and or a $30,000 fine. And of course, there is the other charge as well, which for some reason I do not have the sentencing guideline for that one. However, since Potter has no criminal history, Minnesota sentencing guidelines recommend a sentence of roughly between 6 to 8.5 years in prison. So now prosecutors plan to seek a more severe sentence in that case than the maximum. But it appears that so far right now, we have a little justice in this case. So now going back to some of the details in this case. Now, if you can remember, she had claimed that she was trying to protect a fellow officer from being dragged behind Dante Wright's car during a traffic stop. So now she did so, but she also claimed that while she was reaching for her taser, she had accidentally grabbed her gun. In fact, she says that she didn't want to hurt anybody, which is interesting to say because a taser would definitely hurt someone. But then, realized that after she had grabbed her taser and yelled, taser, 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 she had actually mistakenly grabbed her gun and shot Dante Wright to death. And so now prosecutors had said that she had recklessly handled her firearm and caused Wright's death through culpable negligence or a conscious and disregard of substantial and unjustifiable risk. Defense attorneys said that she mistook her firearm for the taser but was justified in using deadly force to prevent that fellow officer from being injured. Now, of course, during the trial, a police sergeant at the scene who was actually trying to restrain Dante Wright and get handcuffs on him, he said that he was holding Wright's arm with both hands. This is Michael Johnson, a supervisor of Potter's at the time, said he was holding Wright's right arm to prepare him for handcuffs, but then once he had heard her yell, taser, 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 had dropped Wright's arm. So he didn't have a hold of anything during that confrontation, meaning therefore he wasn't going to get dragged along with the car. By the way, the car wasn't even moving until Potter had fired the shots. And so there's that. Now, department policy also dictated that tasers shouldn't be used on people operating vehicles to avoid incapacitating the person and causing an accident. And so she shouldn't have been using the taser in the first place. So again, the car was not moving. She said she reached for the taser. She actually ended up getting the gun and shooting Dante, which then afterwards, after he had been shot, that's when the car moved and then crashed into another car. So now if she hadn't done that and had allowed the other officer to get handcuffs on Dante Wright would still be alive and Kim Potter would still be a police officer. So now the defense again claimed that, oh, no, she was only doing so to prevent him from being dragged, but it wasn't moving. There was no evidence that he would have been harmed at all. at all. And so the defense kind of destroyed right there. Her justification for deadly force, i.e. the car dragging away the officer, never happened at all. And as for her mistake, prosecutors also noted that Potter was a veteran officer who had received extensive taser training that included multiple warnings about not confusing it with a handgun. So she was well trained, and she had absolutely, no justification, and even went against department policy by attempting to deploy said taser. So now the jury had deliberated for something around 27 hours over the course of 4 days over this. They looked at the evidence and they saw there's just no way. This is definitely first degree manslaughter. And they would be right. And so at the end of the day, this decision is exactly, what we were looking for. Some sort of justice here for Daunte Wright. Again, he was stopped for an expired plate. I believe it was expired tags, as well as something hanging in his rear. I believe it was an air freshener that was hanging in his rear view mirror. And so, again, the expired tag, sure, but the rear view mirror thing, ridiculous. Sounds to me like they were trying to fill a quota, made some mistakes, and as a result of that, Daunte Wright's dead. So, what an unfortunate entire incident, which once again proves that we do need to change policing in this country. Even though there is a little bit of justice here, none of that brings back Daunte Wright. And for whatever he did, understand that he did not deserve to die that day. He did not deserve to die. He did not deserve to get shot in the back or anything like that. And that's what's important here. Holding police accountable for shooting and murdering somebody. Well, I'm sorry, doing manslaughter on somebody, unnecessarily. And so again, I'm glad that we have a little bit of justice here. All right. Didn't deserve to be pulled over. Sure sounds like they should have not had their guns out. Agreed. Well, I absolutely agree. I drive on expired tags until they force me to. Darn state is charging me $300 a year to register an electric car, but a ticket is $90. Yeah. All right. Well, let's see. Why is the taser near the gun anyway? Start and Park Racing asks. It seems like a death button shouldn't be next to the non-death button. That's a really good point. Why were they both on the same side? Why or how would? Well, actually, weren't on the same side. She reached on the wrong side. I mean, she should know. She should know where that gun is. So, yeah. Let's see. There's somebody asking a question here that I saw earlier. Let's get here and ask that. Hold on. There was a question here. Oh, yeah. Is it Tempo Dan 918 to answer your question here? Is it too late to start? Well, it might be right now. But that's because they're not letting new players in because there's too many people already. There's literally shutting down sales of the game because there's too many people playing it. But once that clears out, then no, it's not too late to start. In fact, it's fantastic. And I would definitely recommend playing that game. All right. What happened to my computer problems? I've found a workaround for now, but I'm going to be switching out the hard drive on this thing. So when I get a new one, and hopefully that solves my issues. We'll see what happens. She should know she was a training officer, or for fuck's sake. Agreed. Absolutely. Let me read some super chats, by the way. And thank you all for those. I should thank you properly. All right. Let's see. Gabby Mathis, thank you for the very, very kind donations. I really, really appreciate that. Dr. Zippy Scoot says, I was an NBC WMD specialist in the Army for 14 years. Had it been anthrax, most of them would have been dead by now. True. Dangle Bangle asks, why are Nazis relevant again? Well, you know, I don't think they are. I don't think they should be. El Gonzo, thank you for the very kind $10 super chat. And there's that. All those. Let's see if we have anything here on Twitch going on. High Tech Dragon, thank you for cheering 100 bits. Appreciate that. And Tevodan918, thank you for resubbing for 12 months, a year. It's your yearversary. That's amazing. Thank you. Appreciate your support, as always. All right, everybody. Programming note, we're out tomorrow, obviously, because it's Christmas Eve. Should be back on Monday, and I'm not sure what the schedule will be from there. So we'll just kind of play it by ear until the holidays are over, and see what happens. But everybody have a great Christmas weekend. We're saying Merry Christmas again, or Happy Holidays. Whatever you celebrate, or if you celebrate nothing at all, have a fantastic weekend. Have fun, be safe, don't get the COVIDs, and we'll be back later on. Thank you all, love you, and remember, change begins with you. Good night, nation. We'll see y'all later.
Big, massive dump.
Tighten up my knees. Towelerize.
You're kicking me out the door. You're kicking me out the door.
I like my meat tight.